Guys, I want to get your thoughts on this because it's been an ugly week for football in so many ways, hasn't it? And after the game last night, we saw the Palace manager, Patrick Vieira, involved in an altercation with a supporter. Yet again, another pitch invasion. And sadly, it seems to be a common theme, particularly this week. I mean, we've seen some horrible things, haven't we? What needs to be done to tackle this issue? David, I'll start with you.
Well, it's the million-dollar question, really, Pete. It's very depressing. And I think there's a lot of copycat culture going on here. As soon as one pitch invasion happens, others seem to feel emboldened to do the same and want to get on and celebrate and have a laugh with their mates. And on occasions, that's going too far. I understand the euphoria and the relief to want to do it. Equally, it hasn't needed to be channeled this way in the past. You can celebrate in the stands without a problem. So, yeah, there is a bit of sort of replicative behaviour. You can't rely on stewards to stop it. You know, not only do they not seem to have the numbers, but they're not well enough paid. Do you line the whole stadium with police? That's going to be costly, and it won't guarantee that you would stop tens of thousands of people pouring onto the pitch. Barriers being put up could cause a major problem, as we've seen historically. Wembley's quite efficient. There's a sort of wire type system, which isn't a barrier, but it stops people clambering over. But that's a modern stadium, and many of these are old. And then a cultural and behavioural thing as well. Andy Holt, the Accrington Stanley owner, speaking on Twitter just this morning, sort of suggesting that fans need to be treated better as well in terms of being fleeced on ticket prices, very poor conditions, and they're almost feeling like they want to take this into their own hands and they're empowered. If they're treated poorly, then they're going to treat the clubs poorly back. It's a real headache for English football. There's talk in The Guardian and a couple of newspapers yesterday that the EFL might look to bring about partial stadium closures in sections of the ground. Maybe you block off some of the bottom seats to prevent fans getting forward. It's really tough. And then you get reactions like we saw from Patrick Vieira last night, which we'll come on to. But I completely support him in that. I think it would be absolutely ludicrous if he faced any action.
I'm completely with David on that. I think the Patrick Vieira situation, it's an awful situation for him to be in. I sort of like put myself in his shoes and thought, if someone was sort of goading me and whatever was going on, and there is footage around Twitter where you can find what was actually going on, I just can't see why anybody would feel that actually that part is allowed and then Vieira's reaction isn't. Obviously, we don't want to see managers getting into scraps with football fans. In reality, how do we stop that situation? I think I saw the Accrington Stanley tweets, and I felt as though, yes, there's this argument that fans haven't been treated well, but I don't think the moment against Everton or the moment in the Forest-Sheffield United game is avoided if fans are treated better. I don't think that was the case of like fans were going, oh, hold on a minute, I paid too much for this ticket, I'm going to run on the pitch and sort of go over Billy Sharp or go over Patrick Vieira. I think the only way really around this is either you modernise every single stadium like Wembley, which is probably not going to happen because clubs might not want to do it. There might not be enough money. Some clubs are moving stadiums. Or the other way is you start banning fans. And as much as fans will hate to see that happen, I imagine as soon as a few fans are banned, it probably stops happening because we've all been at games where you see something happen where a fan runs onto the pitch. And then I've been at a few games where one fan runs on and then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then all of a sudden you end up with 100 fans on the pitch. And then you're kind of stuck if you're the FA or EFL or Premier League because you can only ban the first one or the second one or the third one. I think it gets to a point where you have to say you're all banned for X amount, not lifetime bans. But if you do it again, it's a lifetime ban. I think that probably could help it, but really and truly, I have absolutely no idea how to stop it because I'm also not somebody who, when my team wins, thinks I need to run on the pitch. That thought process doesn't actually make much sense to me either. So it is, as David said, a million-dollar question, which I think whoever has to answer it will find it difficult.
Just feels like some clubs do it, some clubs don't. And if you are a supporter who's ran on the pitch in this week, I think you have to have a long, hard look at yourself and think to yourself, why did I do it? It's not right, it's not allowed. It brings pressure onto the players, pressure onto the officials, pressure onto the law enforcement. Just think it's an absolute disgrace. And I think everyone, all football fans, really need to think about it themselves and think, right, this week has proved it's time to stop, isn't it, guys? And I think I agree with both of your points on that.